नमस्कार आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द नेपाली भाषाको कार्यक्रम गजब गफगाफमा म यहाँहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु। टिभी I-95 अमेरिकाको नेपाली भाषाको कार्यक्रम गजब गफगाफमा आज म समसामयिक विषय जो विषयमा एकजना नेपाली मूलका अमेरिकामा अध्ययनरत विद्यार्थी युवा शर्मेन्द्र देवकोटालाई निमित्त आएको छु। शर्मेन्द्र देवकोटा नेपाली मूलका अमेरिकामा पढिरहेका एकजना युवा हुन्। उनी मूलत ग्राफिक डिजाइन सम्बन्धी पढेर अहिले हालसालै अहिले विश्व बजारमा खास गरी विश्व अर्थतन्त्रमा यो क्रिप्टो करेन्सी, बिटकोइन, डगकोइन यस्ता नयाँ विषयहरूले प्रवेश पाएको छ अर्थ जगतमा र यसका बारेमा मान्छेहरूलाई चासो पनि हुनसक्छ र तिनै विषयहरूमा अध्ययन गरेको र आफ्नो स्नाकोत्तर मास्टर्स डिग्रीको थेसिस पनि गरिराखेको र त्यस विषयको विज्ञका रूपमा यो कार्यक्रमलाई मैले अगाडि बढाउन चाहेको छु र त्यसका बारेमा उहाँसँग मैले सवाल जवाफ गर्नेछु। सँगसँगै फेरि यो कार्यक्रममा कुनै किसिमको बिटकोइन या क्रिप्टो या कुनै किसिमको यस्ता अदृश्य मुद्राहरू नदेखिने करेन्सीको किनबेचको लागि हामीले सिफारिस कुनै गर्ने होइन, तर तपाईँहरूको लागि खास गरी नेपाली समुदायको लागि जानकारी हुन सकोस् भनेर यो आजको सो मैले चलाएको छु। शर्मेन्द्रजी, वेलकम टु द स्टुडियो। नमस्कार।
नमस्कार तरुण अंकल, थ्याङ्क यू फर ह्याभिङ मी। मेरो नेपाली त्यस्तो राम्रो छैन, तर म कोसिस गर्छु नेपाली बोल्न।
धन्यवाद। सकेसम्म नेपाली बोल्ने प्रयास गर्नुहोला आफ्नोमा र तपाईँले सके जति प्रयास गर्नुहोस्। यो चाहिँ खास गरी सेकेन्ड जेनेरेसन अमेरिकामा रहेको नेपालीहरूको दोस्रो पुस्ता सेकेन्ड जेनेरेसनले हाउ दे आर वर्किङ एन्ड डुइङ एन्ड हाउ उहाँहरूको भविष्य, उहाँहरूले के कस्तो तरक्की गर्दैछन् अमेरिकामा, के कस्तो उन्नति प्रगति पनि गर्दैछन्, कस्ता कस्ता विषयमा हात हाल्दैछन् र उनीहरूको भविष्यमा गएर नेपालसँग या आफ्नो परिवार, आफ्नो भाषा, आफ्नो संस्कृतिसँग कसरी लगाव कायम रहिरहन सक्छ। मेरो विचारमा उहाँ ती विषयहरूमा पनि आफ्नो संस्कृति, आफ्नो देशको कलामा पनि चासो राख्नुहुन्छ। उहाँ चित्र पनि बनाउनुहुन्छ र खास गरी अहिलेको राष्ट्रपति जो बाइडेनको चुनावी अभियानको पोस्टर, अफिसियल पोस्टर बनाउने डिजाइन मध्येका पनि एक हुनुहुन्छ। त्यो पनि एउटा उहाँको जीवनमा सफलताको विषय हो। यो त शर्मेन्द्रजी, मैले तपाईँलाई सुरुमा सोध्न चाहेको प्रश्न के हो भने तपाईँ गोर्खाली चाहिँ कसरी हुनुभयो? How you became Gorkhali? You are the Devkota, right?
हो, हाम्रो घर गोर्खामा हो अनि मैले गोर्खा धेरैचोटि गएको छैन, तर 3 चोटि गएको थिएँ अनि मलाई एकदम मन पराएको छ। मलाई गोर्खा भन्ने मेरो घर त्यही हो अनि बाबा त्यहीँबाट आएको अनि गोर्खाली नाम राखेको मेरो।
तपाईँले आफ्नो पुस्ता, आफ्नो पुर्खाहरू, एन्सेस्टरहरू, they are from there, so I want to be connected with them.
हो, त्यही हो।
नेपाली भाषा चाहिँ कसरी सिक्नु भयो?
नेपाली घरमा नेपाली जम्मा बोल्ने हो। मैले आमा र बाबालाई दुइटै घर बस्दाखेरि मलाई इङ्ग्लिस नबोल्नु मसित, इङ्ग्लिस त स्कुलमै हुन्छ, म घरमा बस्दाखेरि मलाई नेपाली जम्मा बोल्नु भनेर त्यो फ्रम 20 years ago हामी अमेरिका आउँदाखेरि त्यही भनेको थियो अनि अब त्यही घरमा जम्मा नेपाली बोल्छु अनि इङ्ग्लिस सबैहरू ठाउँमा बोल्छु।
कति छन् तपाईँका नेपाली साथीभाइ?
खै 3वटा होइन, धेरै छैन। स्कुलमा नेपाली थिएन धेरै, एउटा नेपाली थियो अनि मसित धेरै कोसिस गर्छु साथी बनाउन नेपाली, तर मेरो स्कुलमा धेरै थिएन।
तपाईँले त यो पेयर्सन स्कुल अफ डिजाइन इन न्युयोर्कमा डिजाइनिङ जुन तपाईँले जे विषय पढ्नु भएको थियो, फेरि अहिले आएर तपाईँ चाहिँ यो अर्थतन्त्र, इकोनोमी या फिनान्ससँग जोडिएका विषयतिर कसरी फेरि हाउ यु टर्न इट?
म अलिकति ब्याकग्राउन्ड गर्छु। मैले एक्चुअली मेरो फर्स्ट अन्डर ग्रेजुएट स्कुल मेरो 4 year कलेज चाहिँ प्राट इन्स्टिट्युट थियो त्यो चाहिँ ब्रुकलिनमा त्यो चाहिँ अल फाइन आर्ट्स डिजाइन जस्तै थियो अनि त्यो स्टिल थाहा छ नि त्यो एट द टाइम धेरै मेरो धेरै एसियन फ्यामिलीजहरूले पनि त्यस्तो आर्ट्सहरूमा त्यस्तो इन्भल्भ थिएन अहिले जब मलाई लाग्छ अहिले मेन स्ट्रिम भएर धेरै एसियन फ्यामिलीजहरूले अब स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू उनीहरूको छोराछोरीहरूलाई जाऊ तिम्रो हार्टहरू के पर्स्यु गर्छ त्यो गर भनेर अहिले त्यो मोर मेन स्ट्रिम राम्रो आयो अनि त्यो राम्रो छ तर ब्याक देन अलिकति डिफ्रेन्ट थियो है अनि मैले 4 years प्राट इन्स्टिट्युटमा गरेको त्यो चाहिँ मेरो ब्याकग्राउन्ड आर्ट्स ग्राफिक डिजाइन मोसन 3D मोडलिङ त्यस्तोमा थियो तर मैले त्यहाँबाट मैले अलिकति भिडियो गेमहरू पनि खेल्थ्यो अनि भिडियो गेममा एउटा भिडियो गेम एकदम मलाई मन पराउँथ्यो त्यो रुनस्केप भन्ने एउटा अहिले स्टिल खेल्छ मान्छेहरूले तर रुनस्केपमा यो गेममा मान्छेहरूले डिजिटल एसेट्सहरू जस्तो सोर्ड कि एउटा पैसा उनीहरूले सेल गर्थ्यो फर रियल करेन्सी है यस्तो भिडियो गेमको करेन्सी रियल वर्ल्ड पैसालाई सेल गर्थ्यो अनि मलाई त्यो एकदम इन्ट्रेस्टेड थियो त्यो भर्चुअल इकोनोमी कसरी यो भर्चुअल इकोनोमी वर्क गर्छ अनि कसरी रियल वर्ल्ड इकोनोमी त्यहाँबाट कसरी इन्टरकनेक्टेड छ एउटा इक्जाम्पल के हो अहिले भेनेजुएलामा ड्यु टु ब्याड टेरेबल करप्सन मान्छेहरूले रुनस्केप खेलिरहेछ पैसा बनाउन है अनि अहिले टु दिस डे मान्छेहरूले स्टिल एउटा
तपाईँ चाहिँ यो आर्टमा खेल्दा खेल्दै त्योसँग जोडेको विषय खेल्दा खेल्दै अनि यो ठुलो विषयतिर तपाईँ ठुलो तलाउतिर यो जम्प इन द लेक बिग लेक that entire things and now it's the virtual currency and economy यो कुरामा अब हामी जोड्यौं यो क्रिप्टो करेन्सी बिटकोइन डगकोइन अहिले त धनी मान्छेहरूको अलिकति पढे लेखेको भन्ने फुर्तीफार्ती गर्ने मान्छेहरूको त विषय नै त्यही भएको छ यो खासमा हो के
हो त्यस्तैबाट मैले त्यही यस्तो भर्चुअल इकोनोमी र रियल वर्ल्ड इकोनोमी कसरी इन्टरेक्ट गरेर मैले एउटा लास्ट सेमेस्टर मेरो एउटा प्रोफेसरले टिच गराएको थियो क्रिप्टो करेन्सी न्यू स्कुलमा अनि त्यहाँबाट मैले इन्भल्भ भयो मैले यो बिटकोइन वर्ल्ड के हो भनेर मैले रिसर्च गरेँ अनि मैले पेपर लेखेको छु अनपब्लिस्ड पेपर अन कसरी यो Bitcoin blockchain, how does it serve to developing countries as well? त्यो नेपालमा कसरी अरू देशहरूमा कसरी यो बिटकोइन र ब्लकचेन इन्भल्भ हुन सक्छ इन अदर एस्पेक्ट्स अदर देन फाइनेन्स अब यो अलिकति इङ्ग्लिसमा बोल्नुपर्छ मेरो नेपाली त्यस्तो राम्रो छैन तर यही
बिटकोइन या क्रिप्टो या अथवा डगकोइन त्यो भनेको के हो त्यसपछि फेरि ब्लकचेन के हो र यसको अर्थतन्त्र इकोनोमीसँगको रिलेसन अनि देश विदेशको अहिलेको फ्युचर इकोनोमी कसरी रिलेट गर्छ त्यहाँनिर केन्द्रित भइदिनु भयो भने सजिलो हुन्छ
I'll try Garcia. So in 2008, when Satoshi Nakamoto, this anonymous group or individual person, created Bitcoin, it was a peer-to-peer digital payment system. The blockchain technology was sort of its shadow, or it's the main infrastructure. So in recent years, Bitcoin's popularity has spurred significantly as we're talking about this. There's a research that estimated that there were more than 60 million Bitcoin wallet users by the end of October of 2020. And one of the reasons behind Bitcoin's popularity is its technology, blockchain, which is the infrastructure to Bitcoin, as it's a critical part of all cryptocurrencies. And in simple terms, एकदम simple way, a block is a set of data. It's a record of transactions, and a chain is a previous set of decentralized database. So it's a link of previous sets of data to new sets of data. So this is the blockchain, and it's not owned by any single party like Chase or PayPal or any sort of bank. It's decentralized, meaning anyone all over the world in the Bitcoin network can own it or can use it.
यो चाहिँ धेरै मान्छेहरुमा के छ भने यो त जुवै पो हो कि भन्ने छ इज इट ग्याम्बल हो कि होइन
Gamble,
how you differentiate
that's more of a speculative, right? They're still मैले answer गर्न सक्दैन marketsहरू it can flux up and go down. What you're going to see right now is actually a augmented reality application that I'm working on trying to educate people on what blockchain is and how to understand it in a very playful way using AR technology, which is augmented reality. So here you'll see my mom using
Mhm.
her hand to play around with this AR application that I'm building to help
Okay.
teach blockchain. So this is a demo version. So yeah, in blockchain, the reason behind what blockchain is and the complexity around it is because there are a lot of layers. It's a very complex system comprising of many other systems. So it's hard to explain one part of blockchain when there's so many other parts that have to be involved to explain that one thing. So in here, I created around a 11-step process of how to understand a blockchain using gamification, playing, understanding, tapping, touching, and you play by learning. So that's
यो के
that.
चाहिँ भोलि मार्केटमा आउँछ अथवा यो सित्तैमा मान्छेले प्रयोग गर्न सक्छ?
यो
Or
मैले
you have to buy it?
no, I plan on making it for free. मैले फ्रीमा बनाउने तर मैले still सबै बोलाउनु पर्छ नि मैले 3D मोडलिङ गरेको छु मैले कोडिङ गरेको छु डिजाइन बनाएको छु सबै यो होल चिज मैले बनाएको अनि अलिकति लामो टाइम दिनुपर्छ यस्तो बनाउन अनि अब किनकि कोले पनि यो भेन्चर क्यापिटलिस्टहरूले मलाई फन्ड गर्ने होइन यो आफै सबै मेरो गोल हो त्यो यो टिच गर्ने हो यो नेपाल अरू डेभलपिङ कन्ट्रिजहरूको मान्छेहरूले कसरी understand गर्न सक्छ यो blockchain and once they understand it they can utilize it to help their local communities and it's not
यसमा एक्सेस हुनको लागि how it is accessible with the general people?
it's accessible through through iPhones. It was designed for
भनेपछि
iPhones.
आइफोन र इन्टरनेट चाहिँ चाहियो हैन?
हो हो
अब म चाहिँ यो कार्यक्रम आजको गजब गफको लागि सहयोग गर्नुहुने फाइडेलिटी मोर्गेज सैयद एम अहमदलाई म हार्दिक धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र मोर्गेज सम्बन्धी सुविधाका लागि उहाँसँग सम्पर्क गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ फाइडेलिटी मोर्गेज इन मेरिल्यान्ड। यो ब्लक चेनको मेकानिजम त्यसपछि यसको पद्धति तर कुनै सरकारहरूले या त गभर्नमेन्टहरूले हैज इट लिगलाइज्ड अर guaranteed?
Oh, you're an interesting question, though. So the debate on the use and misuse of Bitcoin and blockchain around the world will continue throughout to history as it's currently happening because of the levels of different understanding by stakeholders involved, such as the public, governments, corporations, business, donor agencies, and internal nonprofits agencies. So in terms of blockchain, the key players are governments and business corporates. Interest in the rich countries, they have knowledge and resources. However, in the developing countries, there's a much larger question to be asked on how can we utilize blockchain to help improve the nature of what the current state of developing poor
In
countries are.
terms of regular business transaction or financial things,
Mm-hmm.
if the blockchain or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency works in real day-to-day life, then how it can improve or how it can make a change? कसरी फेरबदल ल्याउन सक्छ? अहिलेको भइरहेकोमा भन्दा के सुधार हुन सक्छ? What do you think? What is your recommendation?
Well,
Not
it's
particular Bitcoin or a crypto, but in general system, how that can improve, like Nepal or Pakistan or India, third world country.
Still राम्रो question हो किनकि right now there are a lot of countries that are trying to utilize blockchain in different manners. So there's actually a book right here. It's called Blockchain Chicken Farm. It's by Xiaoyi Wang, and they wrote about how China is actually utilizing blockchain for the poultry chicken selling. So China has a program. It's called Anti-Poverty Alleviation Program, and they're trying to outsource or they're trying to use farmers in rural areas, have them grow chicken and be delivered to people that are in more suburban or city areas utilizing blockchain. So that way you don't have any sort of contamination or any sort of virus coming from any any outside party. So this is all within the blockchain by buying and selling or buying chicken. So we there are different ecosystems that are at play here with blockchain that I think other nations, developing nations, can utilize.
अब यो कुन चाहिँ राम्रो यो देयर आर डिफरेन्ट काइन्ड अफ कम्पनीज अर कर्पोरेसन कसको राम्रो कुन चाहिँ which is good or which is bad, how to figure out
That
if I want
is
to buy then what could be the things, and I have to call you or what I
no.
decide myself.
Yeah, no, I am no financial advisor. I don't know any. Please don't use me as a resource for any sort of financial transactions. That's the scary thing about Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies, is that, you know, is it a legit a real application, or is it as a scheme? And there are a lot of schemes in this crypto sector. You have to be careful. There are so many schemes, and a lot of them are just trying to get money. And so to understand what cryptocurrency to invest in or what it is, the best you can do is really read about it and understand the entire scope of what this plan, the mission is. They have this thing called white papers. A lot of cryptocurrency, when they emerge, they publish a white paper, signifying what they do and why they're used for. Reading that and also going to their website and try to understand more of it. But it's very, it's all speculative, or it's a risk. If no matter
त्यो त भाग्यमा विश्वास गर्न पनि भएन होइन
हजुर
भाग्यमा विश्वास गर्नु पनि भएन जुनले पनि हो यो चाहिँ पर्ला भन्नु पनि राम्रो होला भन्नु पनि भएन यो क्रिप्टो करेन्सी अथवा यो भर्चुअल करेन्सीहरू चाहिँ पुरा बुझेर अध्ययन गरेर जानेर मात्रै after you became educated then you decide where to invest, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
I spent hours, many days reading just one business, like Origin Trail or Engine Tokens. I was spending just weeks trying to understand one part of what they're trying to sell with their token, with their cryptocurrency, because it's very difficult, as if you're not in the tech world and you're not tech literate, understanding the different tokenomics of currents, it's very hard. And so the only thing I can really say is really doing your research and knowing the in and out of that one cryptocurrency that you're trying to, invest in, or you think it has a future potential. It's really doing a lot of research.
म चाहिँ यो हाम्रो कार्यक्रमको सहयोग गर्ने विज्ञापन दिने फाइडेलिटी डाइरेक्ट मोर्गेज सैयद अहमदजीलाई म धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। भनेपछि यो टेक्नोलोजी र इकोनोमी दुईटै नबुझिकन यो यस्तो भर्चुअल करेन्सीको यो खालकोमा लगानी अथवा किनबेच ट्रान्ज्याक्सन गर्नु रिस्क छ, जोखिम छ भन्न चाहिँ सकिन्छ।
So एउटा चिज भन्छु यो, in conclusion, potential of blockchain technology is beyond any prophecies. It's only been 10 years, 11 years, and it seems that blockchain has been thrown as a revolution in the global technology communities. The technology has sensitized the both public and private sectors around the globe. Stakeholders in developed countries aim to get wealthier by using blockchain, since there won't be any scarcity of knowledge and resources. Meanwhile, the question for how governments in developing countries, especially the poor, could open the door to blockchain technology for the betterment of the bottom quintiles, but that remains trivial, right? Because developing countries...
ग्लोबल्ली ठुलो मान्छेहरूको चासो चिन्ता, गरिबको पनि धनीको पनि के भने करप्सन, गभर्नमेन्ट लेभलको, पोलिटिकल लेभलको, कर्पोरेसन लेभलको. Do you think that this kind of virtual currency things can curb or control or to help to control the corruption? What do you think?
Well, we can always, talk for hours about what they can't do. There's always going to be, that incentive is based on human nature. I think human nature will always have greed, and they will try to get greedier or try to get more money. They'll always try to find ways, no matter the technology. Internet is the same reason, or banks. There are money laundering happening throughout banks, but we still use it. And it's the same thing with blockchain. It's not going to be the utopian that everyone kind of claims to be. But you have to utilize it in the way that it's better for people rather than for your own wealth. So developing countries like Nepal could learn from the various blockchain ecosystems modeled as proposed by New Zealand and Singapore. I hope people that are trying to understand that checks out New Zealand and Singapore's like blockchain ecosystem, and this initiation with the involvement of private sector, public agencies, donor groups could be could be part of the entire civic society. So like the participation of multiple stakeholders could develop and further establish this trust, because that's the key when you're trying to create something, whether it's technology or some sort of a community understanding. You have to know, you have to trust the people that's around it. Like you have to trust the banks, you have to trust the government, and you have to trust the private sectors. If there's no trust there, it's not going to work out. So this
भनेपछि यो कहिलेसम्ममा यो बढ्ता मान्छेहरूको इजी एक्सेसमा मान्छेले सजिलै बुझ्ने होला यो? अहिले तपाईँले
oh
10-11 वर्षको मात्रै भएको छ र यसको चाहिँ धेरै पक्षमा पोजिटिभ नेगेटिभ अथवा रिस्क अर
yeah.
बेनिफिट एडभान्टेज छ भन्ने यो सबै कुरा चाहिँ ट्रस्ट डेभलप हुन हाउ लङ इट माइट निड टु गो?
Well, there's a lot of research being done right now with blockchain on various different spectrums, from voting.
In your perspective, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, how long it might take?
That's there was a video that came out 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, about teaching blockchain for 5 different levels for like a young person, a 13-year-old, 20 and 30-year-old. And in that video, it's a very popular video. The one biggest takeaway in that video was that for it to be mass adopted, it needs to have understanding. You need to understand the technology. And even that was 4 years ago, right? But to this day, 4 years later, it still isn't widely known. It still isn't widely educated. And so who knows? It's maybe there could be more education circling around it. And that's actually why I
यो त
kind of
आम रूपमा सरकारहरूले अथवा
mm,
नन प्रफिटहरूले अथवा कलेज स्कुलको एजुकेसनल बडिजहरूले यसमा मोर एजुकेसन दिने त्यस सम्बन्धी गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने लाग्छ?
I think any sort of courses trying to teach about blockchain was very could be really, really well, especially when there aren't that many. And if there are, it's expensive, right? Or it can be misinformation. There's a lot of tricky routes when you're trying to create something that kind of has a power to like change the way that we look at money and just communities in general.
भनेपछि यो चाहिँ टेक्नोलोजी बढी हो कि यो इकोनोमी बढी हो?
यो टेक्नोलोजी बढियो तर यो एक टेक्नोलोजी बढियो तर यसले फाइनेन्स all sectors यसले इम्प्याक्ट गर्छ.
यसले
गेमिङ,
इम्प्याक्ट गर्छ सबै,
आर्ट्स.
तर भनेपछि तपाईँको विचारमा र तपाईँको आफ्नो अध्ययनले भन्छ कि टेक्नोलोजीमा पुरा पारङ्गत कन्फिडेन्स नभएसम्म यो बुझ्न अथवा यो प्रयोग गर्नु चाहिँ सजिलो छैन, सम्भव छैन अथवा अनुत्पादक हुन्छ। म चाहिँ यो फाइडेलिटी मोर्गेज, डाइरेक्ट मोर्गेजको सैयद अहमदजीलाई म धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु यस कार्यक्रमको प्रायोजनको लागि र म लगभग अन्तिमतिर आउँदैछु। सर्वेन्द्रजी, तपाईँले नेपाल र नेपाली समुदाय अथवा नेपालले र नेपाली समुदायले नेपाल एज अ नेसन, नेपाल कन्ट्री र इन Nepalese community in America or globally abroad, how they can be, what do you recommend, how they want to be acquainted with this kind of new virtual world?
That's a hard question. I think it starts with wanting an initiation of wanting to learn about it. I think whether it's and whether that's through trying to understand technology or whether or not you're in
यो
um,
प्रश्न अलि धेरै भेग भयो। तपाईँहरू जस्तै युवा मान्छेहरू जो विषयमा पढ्नु भएको छ, खास गरी टेक्नोलोजीको पनि या इकोनोमीको पनि थोरै
oh,
जति यस्तो साथीभाइहरूको समूह ग्रुप बनाएर अथवा त्यस्तो किसिमको काम कलेक्टिभली गर्ने कुनै
oh,
योजना, नेतृत्व, लिडरसिप लिने अथवा कहीँ जोइन गर्ने त्यस्तो केही सोचाइ तरिकाहरू बनाएको छ? ह्याभ यु थिङ्क अबाउट इट?
पर्सनली मैले गरेको छैन, तर त्यो हजुरले भनेको एकदम राम्रो हो त्यो। एज अ collectively, try to get as many people around you in your circles, expand your circles, and get more understanding of this technology, so you can have a core trust. You understand why it's being used and how to utilize it for the greater purpose of your society, and not just individual I don't know, individual prospect, wealth. I mean, like it's a good thing, right? To get money,
Yeah,
but it's
everybody wants
also
to be like Elon Musk, but
yes,
they think, they dream, but it's not easy to go there,
right,
right? We are
yes,
still
exactly.
very kid. Thank you, Sharvendra
Yes,
Gorkhali Dipkota, for
thank
your
you,
time, and we could talk a little longer, but we have the time limitation. समयको लागि धन्यवाद र तपाईँले जे विषयमा पढिराख्नु भएको छ यो
thank you,
विषयमा थप जानकारीहरू दिने र त्यस विषयमा सुसूचित गर्ने र त्यस सम्बन्धी आफ्नो अध्ययन अनुसन्धान र इन्भेन्सन आविष्कारलाई पनि अझ परिष्कृत बनाउनुहोस्, यो शुभकामना दिँदै म आजको कार्यक्रमबाट बिदा माग्ने अनुमति चाहन्छु। फेरि भेटौँला। नमस्कार।
thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
थ्याङ्क यू।